The proclamation of the Holy Gospel according to Matthew. Jesus said to his disciples, "You are the salt of the earth. But if salt loses its taste, with what can it be seasoned? It is no longer good for anything but to be thrown out and trampled underfoot. You are the light of the world. A city set on a mountain cannot be hidden. Nor do they light a lamp and then put it under a bushel basket. It is set on a lampstand, where it gives light to all in the house. Just so, your light must shine before others, that they may see your good deeds and glorify your heavenly Father." The Gospel of the Lord.
Our Gospel passage for this Sunday is taken from the 5th chapter of St. Matthew. We have been reflecting on good deeds or good works as a testimony to the presence and action of God in our lives. This is very much connected to the mission that we have received. In the first reading from Isaiah, the mission of the people Israel is depicted as that of shedding light, of bringing light to people walking in darkness. How? Through good actions, like feeding the hungry, freeing those who are oppressed, giving shelter to the homeless, and preventing malicious speech, false accusation, and oppression in our midst. And through those actions, people who live in darkness will finally see light. But that is not the ultimate light. The good deeds are simply a pointer to a deeper light, which is the fidelity of God. In the second reading, St. Paul tells the Corinthians about his own good deed, his good action as an apostle. And it is the proclamation of the good news. Very public, a very public mission. Facing people, proclaiming who Jesus is. Now, that proclamation brings light. But St. Paul tells us of his experience. He does not want to impede or to block the light of the gospel. He knows who he is. He is simply a bearer of the gospel. And since the gospel is about God's wisdom in Jesus Christ, he makes sure that he does not bring human wisdom, human rhetoric, human argumentation in order to draw attention to himself. No. In fact, he comes with his weakness, with his fears, in order to bring the full light of the gospel to the people. We have here someone who does good deeds, but is very clear that he will not compete with the light that comes from the gospel itself. This is a good lesson to learn, which is valuable in our interpretation of the gospel passage. Jesus tells his disciples of their mission on earth. So we go beyond Israel, as depicted in the first reading. We are not now talking about the more universal mission of the disciples of Christ. They are supposed to be the salt of the earth and the light of the world. Two ways of depicting the mission of the disciples of Christ, being salt of the earth and light of the world. This is a great gift. I just cannot fully understand why Jesus entrusts this mission to us. Don't you feel like St. Paul? Weak, fearful before this mission? I do. It is difficult to be salt to a few people, even to your family. But imagine, Jesus entrusts to us as a gift this mission to be salt of the earth. Who will not tremble? Who am I to encompass the whole earth and give it flavor as salt? It is difficult enough to shed light on a few people who can, reject your light. But Jesus tells his disciples, you will be the light of the world. Who will not tremble before this calling, before this beautiful grace, but yet beyond us, overwhelming? But we start with an appreciation for Jesus' trust in us. He believes that we, graced, of course, will be able to assume this mission. But if we look closely at the gift of mission, employing the images of salt that gives flavor and light, lamp, a city on a hill, so that people will see inside the house, then we don't only tremble, we also see the great responsibility that this mission gives or imposes or puts on our shoulders. Let me offer two short points. First, as salt and as city on a hill and as lighted lamp, Jesus expects us to be visible in the world. Jesus expects us to be present in the world through our good deeds. Salt must do its purpose, which is to give flavor to the food. The city set on a hill must be a reference point to travelers. It must be visible. It must do its purpose. A lamp is not hidden under a bushel basket. It must be hung at the top of the house so that it can do its work to shed light inside the house. In other words, Christians are expected by Jesus to be present in the world, to be visible in the world by doing our good deeds, by performing the works, the mission entrusted to us. So, dear brothers and sisters, we cannot be lazy. We cannot invent excuses in order not to be present in the world and to be visible, especially by doing what we should be doing. That's the type of visibility or presence that Jesus wants us to assume in the world. The second point, yes, visible. But Jesus says, using the image of light, seeing the kindness of your acts, people will give praise to God the Father. Aha! Yes, it is presence. Yes, it is visibility. Yes, it is doing our good works, but as a testimony to God. And so the praise should not be given to us. It should be given to God. Our good deeds must be made visible so that seeing our good deeds, people will be directed to the source of our good deeds. People will ask, why are they forgiving? Why are they loving? Why do they care for the sick? Why do they care for people who are not related to them? And hopefully, this questioning will lead them to see the light, who is Jesus, the one sent by the Father. What Jesus is pointing to is already lived by St. Paul in the second reading. This has been lived by John the Baptist. I must decrease, he must increase. This is also the testimony of the great saints and martyrs who did a lot of good deeds without drawing attention to themselves, but bringing the eyes of people to Jesus, to the Father who sent Jesus in the Spirit. So, be visible, but not self-promotional. We do our good deeds and make them known and seen, not in order to draw people's attention to myself, so that I will get praise, so that I can form a fans club, a group of loyalists. No, that is not the point of good deeds. Our good deeds are humble testimonies to the one greater than we are, the source of all light, the source of all truth and justice, the source of all goodness, the Father who sent Jesus in the Spirit. I was taught a beautiful lesson in this. A few weeks ago, I was invited to attend the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland, and I really felt small, in that circle of heads of states, heads of corporations, artists, actors, actresses, movers in the world. And I told myself, who am I to be here, But it was an invitation, and it consoled me that 2 other cardinals had been invited. And we tried to contribute, especially in the discussion on the role of faith in the development of the world. In one of the sessions there, 2 Filipinos approached me, and they said, "Your Eminence, may we have a photo with you?" And at the back of my mind, I said, here we go again. They want a photo of me. Again, I will be in the limelight. So I said smilingly, "Oh, sure, but what will you do with the photo?" And then they said, "We want to show our children. Because our children, when they learned that you would be here in Davos, begged us, please have a photo with the Cardinal. We want to show our friends. Because when your name became a byword in the homes, especially during the conclave, they said it boosted the dignity, the honor of the Filipino people living here in Switzerland. And our children want to see, who is this person that somehow brought us a lot of good?" When I heard that, the readings for today came to mind, as though Jesus telling me, it is not you, Chito. It is not you. It is all about me. It's all about what I am doing for your country. It is all about the light that I want your Filipino brothers and sisters to see. It is not about you. And it is true. It is not me. It is the light that I would only borrow from Christ and hopefully share with our brothers and sisters, especially the OFWs. The word has been exposed. Let us now fulfill it.